Hey guys, welcome to science. Alright, so we are just about to finish up learning about the animals. We have learned about all of the vertebrate animals. Remember, a vertebrate has backbone and has bones inside their body like we do. And all the different vertebrate animals were mammals, fish, reptiles, amphibians, and birds. Those were our 5 vertebrate animals. And that just means they have bones inside their body. There's only one kind of animal that we're going to talk about that is an invertebrate. Invertebrate means it has bones, or it doesn't have any bones inside of its body. Most vertebrate animals have like a hard covering on the outside of their body. They have something called an exoskeleton. An exoskeleton just means it's kind of like a hard shell that covers their whole body and protects them. Kind of like our bones protect our body on the inside. Well, they kind of have almost like a covering that protects it on the outside, and it's an exoskeleton. But these animals that with these exoskeletons that we're going to talk about are called insects. Yeah, insects. So we're about to watch a little video that tells us real quick some things about insects. So let's watch this and see if you can learn anything new about insects.
The largest group of animals is insects. There are more insects than any other kind of animal on the earth. There are nearly 1 million kinds of insects in the world. Insects are a group of animals that have 6 legs and 3 body parts. All 6 legs on an insect bend where 2 parts of their leg join together. These are called jointed legs because they bend where they join. An insect's body has 3 parts: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. Some animals have bones, and some don't. Insects belong to the group of animals that have no backbones. They are called invertebrates. Many insects have a hard covering on the outside of their bodies called an exoskeleton. It's an outside skeleton. The exoskeleton protects an insect's insides like a suit of armor. When an insect grows, it gets too big for its exoskeleton. A new one grows, and the old exoskeleton falls off. Some insects shed this outside covering many times until they are fully grown. Insects change the way they look as they grow. They may start their lives as an egg. This is a butterfly egg. The egg hatches and becomes a larva. A butterfly larva is called a caterpillar. The larva changes into a pupa, and finally, the adult butterfly comes out of the pupa. This change from egg to larva to pupa to adult is called metamorphosis. The word metamorphosis means to change. Most insects go through these 4 changes during their life.
That class kind of bugged me. You're silly. It was fun to learn about insects. I can't wait to find out what's behind this door. Me too. Whoa.
Alright, so did you learn some new things about insects? Good. We already did talk about how the insects have those exoskeletons. That's kind of why when you step on a bug, you kind of hear that crunch. Yeah, it's kind of gross, but that's the exoskeleton that you're crunching when you step on a bug. So that's what you're hearing. That's its exoskeleton. We also heard in the video that those insects have 3 body parts. They have a head, a thorax, which is like their middle, and then their abdomen, which would be the back of them, kind of like their bottom. That's the abdomen. They have 6 legs. 6 legs. 6 legs that come from their thorax usually. Their legs would stick out from their middle part. Their legs are jointed, which means they can move like this, like our fingers are jointed. They can bend. So their legs, if they couldn't, they just have to try to walk like this or something. But their legs can bend and make them crawl like that. So that's what jointed means. What else about them? Oh, they go through that metamorphosis, just like we talked about amphibians go through the metamorphosis or the change, where they start out as something and then they change into something else. Insects do that too. They started as a little bitty egg, then they turn into a larva, and a lot of times the larva doesn't look anything like what they're going to grow into. Like a fly larva, it kind of looks like a little grub, and it's nasty. So mosquitoes are the same way. They look like little worms, not mosquitoes. So they turn into like a larva, and then they will grow into an adult. So they go through a metamorphosis. All right, and then the last cool thing that the video didn't talk about, when I was trying to research insects to figure out what I wanted you to learn about them, I got stuck on what they breathe with. Yeah, me and my husband even, I sit there on the couch going, do insects have lungs? And he said, I don't know. It kind of stumped us both because I never really thought about it. So I had to look it up. I knew that insects didn't have gills because that's for animals that live in the water. But I wasn't sure if they had lungs or not. And when I looked it up, I found out that they do breathe air like we do. They breathe air like that, but they do not have lungs. They have these tubes in their body that brings in the oxygen. And they actually don't have to breathe as much as we do. That's why, like, if you try to put a bug in a jar, it might not die for a long time because it doesn't need oxygen like we do. They can go sometimes hours or days without breathing. We can't do that, just a few minutes, and we would be dead. But insects, they don't need as much air as we do, so they don't have lungs or gills. They breathe with something else. They breathe with, like, tubes from their body. So I thought that was kind of cool about insects. But I guess that is all we need to learn about insects, those invertebrates. You've got a little worksheet that you're going to tell me what you remember and what you learned about insects. And the next time we have science, we're going to actually be talking about animal adaptations. Yeah, we'll figure out what those are the next time we have science. And I bet you know some animal adaptations, and we're going to talk about what that means and what they are. But that's all I have for science today. I'll see you all later.